going on, guys? I am back once again, and this topic that we're going to talk about right now. Oh, where? You said there's two of us. That's right. Boom. My guy Marshall is back again. I know we finished off the series. Oh wait, we have finished off the series, but I don't know if this video has gone up before the final or not. But we've done that anyway. But I gave him a little text and I went, you know what, Marshall, there's something spicy going on right now. He was like, what? What's going on? I was like, Calzaghe versus Froch. Now that's a fight that could still happen. Surprisingly, the pair are still going back and forth on Twitter. But before I read out some of the tweets, do you want to just, read out their records and some of the honorable mentions on their record?
Okay, so both guys fought everybody in their eras. You got Carl the Cobra Froch with a record of 33-2 and 24 knockouts, with notable victories over George Groves twice. Mikel Kessler, they split, so Kessler beat him once as well. Lucien Boutte and Glenn Johnson. Oh, he also beat Andre Durrell and Jermaine Taylor, which are huge wins as well. And John Pascal, like just a crazy resume. And then you look at Joe Calzaghe, 46-0, 32 knockouts. The Pride of Wales, with wins over Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Mikel Kessler, Sakio Bika, Jeff Lacey, and Chris Eubank. Both guys fought everybody. Just awesome resumes. Awesome resumes.
For sure, man. They definitely left their own legacies behind, that's for sure. And in Britain, it's always been that talk. They just didn't meet in the eras. They were just divided, so they never really met. But here's some tweets that I've grabbed off the main man on Twitter, the boxing man, I call him, Michael Benson, and he's took some quotes from Froch's podcast and an interview Calzaghe did on another platform, so I'm going to read them out. So Carl Froch actually said that, he revealed that Eddie Hearn wanted to do virtual press conferences while this whole thing was going on for fights that never happened. So Froch versus Calzaghe press conference virtually while we're in lockdown. And Froch said he told Hearn to make the fight instead, like make the actual fight. He's willing to come out of retirement for that one. He said this, quote, "He did used to wind me up. I'd probably have him on the cobbles. I'd have it outside, have a little roll around on the grass with him. He's never given me any props, and for that I'd love to punch him in the face really hard." That was Carl Froch.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, it's kind of, yes, Froch has been retired since 2014, but Calzaghe's been retired for over 12 years. It's not really, it's kind of kicking a man when he's down, saying make the actual fight, don't you think?
What do you mean kicking him when he's down?
The dude hasn't had a professional fight in over a decade, and you're saying make the fight? Like, what do you, I don't know, it just seems kind of stupid.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but the thing is, that's one argument. It's the fact that they've been compared side to side for all of Froch's career. And I think Froch is disheartened because he never got the love of Calzaghe as like their mentor. I think we saw a similar situation with Lennox Lewis and Anthony Joshua a few months ago, if you remember that little situation. But I think it's more of a pride thing right now with these two. Do you know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah, that makes sense.
So anyway, Joe Calzaghe replied saying, "It's mad I'm still living in his head after all these years. I think most people know what would have happened. I know what would have happened. I don't take much notice of what he says. I'm happy with my career." So I think Calzaghe, not so bothered. Froch, on the other hand, I don't think he's bothered either, but I think if there was money on the table, mate, I feel like that could be a possibility.
For sure. And Froch is just, he's crazy, man. Like he will definitely go after the fight. I think Calzaghe's just, when you retire undefeated, there's really no reason to come back. So Calzaghe doesn't care really what happens, but Froch is gonna be pushing for it. I think just as the kind of guy he is.
For sure. Like let's talk about this fight now. We obviously know enough about both of these fighters, followed their careers, but we even did just a quick freshen up of our minds. Watch some fights back prior to this video. For me, there's two sides. I think you mentioned it as well. There is two sides of this fight. If they're gonna fight, if we're talking about what would have happened then and what would happen now. Let's start off talking about their primes, or when they were actually still about fighting. What do you think? What would have happened?
So this fight is interesting in their primes because Froch hasn't fought a ton of southpaws. Calzaghe's used to fighting orthodox fighters, so right off the bat, Calzaghe's gonna have a little bit of stylistic advantage, in my opinion. But with that, Calzaghe's a very textbook boxer. He works off his jab very well, and you won't be able to use your jab to the same kind of effect with an orthodox fighter you would if you're fighting a southpaw fighter as a southpaw. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. he's done it all his life. He made it work for him. So he would have the advantage in the battle of the jabs when it comes to Froch versus Calzaghe. However, we know Froch isn't the greatest jabber to begin with. He's looking to land bombs and end the night or do damage. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. That's what he does. He's always looking for that.
So I was looking back at some highlights, and I watched the first Mikhail Kessler fight for Froch, and Kessler versus Calzaghe. And Kessler was landing similar shots to both of them, but they were affecting Froch more, which I was interested in. I didn't think it would be that way. So that's a huge feather in the cap of Joe Calzaghe in this, when he already has the battle of the jabs in his corner, plus he's taking damage from the same fighter better than Froch did. I really do think in their prime the volume would be a problem for Froch, and he would overwhelm him and win a pretty wide unanimous decision.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, what stands out to me is, first of all, I don't want to downplay Carl Froch's achievements in the sport. I think he was a great ambassador for the sport in his own right. But the thing is, his thing in bigger fights was, and against really good opponents, was he wasn't messing about. Fair play, he's got a warrior's heart. He wanted to come and hurt you, and you saw every time he'd do that, he'd always end up square on against his opponent, and he'd get caught plenty of times. And the thing about him is, he's always looking for that shot. It's not a continuous work rate all the time with Carl Froch. He looked for that shot. He's got a work rate, but it's nowhere near, in my opinion, as good as Calzaghe's. Calzaghe's work rate was simple. He wasn't work rate as in trying to hurt you. It was simple textbook stuff. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 to the body, boom, boom, and then roll. And it was just simple stuff. He was aggressive with that in a very sensible way. He wasn't, aggressive in I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna knock you out, that type of way. It was very textbook, and it worked efficiently. That's the main thing. Now, don't get it twisted. Their styles would gel brilliantly because they both come forward and they both let their hands go. They're not, they're not on their bikes most of the fight. But in the work rate sense of things, Calzaghe has the better and more sensible work rate, and Froch, his certain things about his all-round game are flawed at times. Not because he's a bad fighter or anything by any means, but it happens in the fight. It's a regular occurrence. You can see it in the fight. He'll become square on to fighters, and he'll get caught 1-2. With Calzaghe, if you do that, bam, 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 you got caught with 3 shots and he's off, and then he's in you again. So in that matter, it makes it easy for me to decide that Calzaghe would be the victorious one in the fight.
Also, if you look at that Kessler fight, and I'm sure it happened at other points in his career as well, he would land a good shot, and it's like he thought that meant the fight was coming to almost to an end or something. So he would just kind of acknowledge his work and take a moment off, drop his hands.
Yeah.
He would fight many moments of the fight with his hands low after you land a significant shot.
Yeah, it's like a bam bam, and then he's like.
Both dudes can take a hell of a shot. I don't think that this would be a stoppage, especially because Calzaghe doesn't really go for the stoppage unless he has them unless the volume is just overwhelming the person that he finds a stoppage. But looking at the people that Froch went the distance with, I don't think Calzaghe would stop.
Yeah, Calzaghe, it's a very good point because Froch has got a hell of a chin, and Calzaghe, again, he only goes to work when he's got someone hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if he got stopped though, because if he kept catching Froch over 12 rounds, we're talking about 3 minutes, 12 rounds, kept catching him from the early rounds, then there's a possibility of a stoppage. But I think the early rounds would be pretty quiet. I think both would respect each other's skill set and power and ability to work. So I think the first few rounds would be quiet for sure. The flip side of this argument though, seeing as though we agree on this, is what would happen if they met now? Carl Froch at the age of 42, 43, and Calzaghe now 48.
That's tough, man. I haven't seen what they're doing in the gym, but based on their appearance, Calzaghe's got a little bit thick. He's gained some weight.
He been on that good stuff.
But do you blame him? He's been retired for over a decade.
Bro, I would never blame him. I would never blame a fighter, bro. The man spent his whole life dedicating it to a sport, and he retired undefeated. King, you can have whatever cake you want. Just enjoy it.
So this would probably be a cruiserweight fight, to be honest, if they did it right now. So
yeah,
it would at least light heavyweight the most, but I think cruiserweight for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, I would favor Froch, to be honest. I think Froch would probably stop him right now. Froch still looks like he's in shape. He's taking care of himself. He's getting a little silver in the beard, you know, but you know he's still in shape.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen Carl Froch around quite a lot of these events in the UK, and hell, the man stayed in shape. You've got to give it to him. Packed on a bit of muscle, but he's definitely stayed in shape. Calzaghe, from the photos and stuff I've seen as well, like I agree with you, he's definitely put some weight on, definitely a bit big. But that doesn't mean, you know, if he has a good camp, you know, the age difference isn't massive. There's only like 5 years between the two, 5-6 years.
Right.
So really, it will come down to how much Calzaghe has taken care of himself, which in my opinion, you know, some boxers, like obviously, you know, people do let themselves go as they should, but some are so addicted to the sport, like Floyd Mayweather, where they're always keeping healthy and fit. So once they go into a camp, if Calzaghe did, maybe, you know, he'd bring him back to a certain, you know, respectable shape for that fight, and it'd be a good scrap. I reckon he could survive the 12. Listen, the skill set never goes. You'll never lose the skill set, and it's not like he's facing a 36-year-old Carl Froch. Now that's a different story. If he was 48 and Carl was 36, it's a different story. Let's not forget, George Foreman did it.
Well, hold on. We're talking about George Foreman now. Okay, so that's a whole different story, because when you're talking heavyweights mature later, so you can be 40 years old and be elite still. Look at Vladimir Klitschko. He was number 2 in division, and he was 41 years old fighting Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, because Tyson Fury was gone, so number 2 in the division. That being said, I don't know. Like, that's a hypothetical. Yeah, he could come back and get in great shape and still have the fire and want to fight. But based on the way that they have treated their bodies post-career, I have to favor Froch fairly heavily. Listen,
it was a good breakdown. Again, I appreciate your time, guys. Make sure to check out the Combat Hour. Like I've mentioned in other videos, great content over on that side as well. So make sure to go and show them some love. And again, we appreciate you tuning in. Marshall, thank you for your time, bro.
Thank you for having me, man. And also, if this fight gets made, I will be watching. I would love to see that fight. 2 guys in their 40s doing it. I'm down. Make it happen.
Yeah. And hopefully no one gets hurt. That's the main thing. Just want them to have some fun, and hey, the press conferences would be good.
For sure.
Carl Froch might mention that he fought in front of 80,000. Alright, we're off. Peace.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking the icon right here, and also hit the bell button so that you can get alerts every time we upload a new video.